We want to bring you up to speed on this war over the past 24 hours. Today marks the 10th day of this Israel war on Iran. CENTCOM just confirmed the 7th American soldier killed in this war. By the way, that's the number they're giving us. I guess shame on me for not believing our government and not believing those KIA numbers at all. And how many have actually been wounded? Why are those numbers being kept from us? Our sources have told us that the number of medevac helicopters and the medevac helicopter flights specifically in the past 72 hours have been flying virtually around the clock, stocking up medical facilities in many of the outlying countries, Dubai, the UAE, etc. Based on the quantity of flights alone, sources we're speaking to put the number of injured well over 135 soldiers. That's being very conservative. So I'm just giving you the most conservative numbers at this point, 135. Meaning injured people on board being transported to triage locations, mostly onboard aircraft carriers, of course, which are essentially floating hospitals. Very easy to keep those numbers hidden when they're on aircraft carriers, out of the prying eyes of cameras. Many others, Stuttgart, Germany, massive NATO U.S. base there in Stuttgart. Meanwhile, oil prices skyrocketing today, then plummeting after Trump announced a press conference which is going to take place in about an hour from now in Florida. Says, I've got a plan for oil. So it went up to about $117, then plummeted down to $90. See the volatility that's taking place right now. Iranian oil tankers being hit, of course, as well by U.S. and Israeli forces. Americans may not see the death or the wounded numbers, but they are starting to see this war hit their families. Gas and energy prices now shooting straight up. So the mainstream media is now trying to soften this blow because someone at Fox News sent out this message. The new line is short-term pain for long-term gain. Watch.
This is a short-term disruption for the long-term gain.
Short-term pain for the long-term gain.
Short-term pain be for long-term gain.
We're going to have some short-term pain with long-term gain.
Short-term pay for a long-term gain.
Some short-term pain, yes, but we've got some long-term gain. Short-term spike for a long-term gain.
Some short-term pain for American consumers.
We may have to deal with that in the short term.
Short-term and temporary.
Temporary short-term pain.
It's going to suck in the short term.
Some short-term pain.
Short-term pain. We have to focus on the short term.
Short-term.
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 Short-term and long-term.
Short-term blip.
Hopefully this is a short-term pain.
Short-term is highly outweighed of the long-term benefits.
Some short-term pain for the long-term gain.
Short-term sacrifice for a long-term gain.
If you missed earlier in the show, this is a big piece of the story that's not being covered, and I'm surprised why the Pentagon is so quiet about this and CENTCOM is so quiet about this. The number of American wounded in this conflict so far. So if you missed the top of the show when I started talking about this is when our network was attacked and our show shut down. So I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to tell you all about it again in case anyone wants to know about it. So maybe we can even bring up the photos again. So today marks the 10th day of this Israel war on Iran. CENTCOM confirmed the 7th American soldier killed in this war. If you believe those numbers, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. The KIA numbers are, I'm telling you right now, are not accurate. How many have actually been wounded?
They're saying 7, and they got 3 in a van right there. That, you know what I mean? Like, half of them are just now.
Yeah. Why are those numbers being kept from us? Well, our sources have told us the number of medevac helicopter flights in the past 72 hours have been flying around the clock, stocking up medical facilities in many of the outlying countries. I've heard this from now multiple sources. Dubai, surrounding areas. So how many Americans have actually been hurt in this? Is that why President Trump is now trying to pull back on this? Because maybe those numbers are going to start to come out? You know, soldiers with brain damage, limbs blown off. We're going to learn about that. Based on the quantity of flights alone, sources we're speaking with have put the injured at well over 135 soldiers. And that, again, that's a very conservative number. I'm giving you the most conservative number possible. Some estimates that I've been seeing from different outlets and sources saying well over 1,000. But again, I'm going with the most conservative number of 135 based on my sourcing. So being able to be transported to these floating hospitals, which are these aircraft carriers, massive triage center. They are basically like massive, massive hospitals, right? We know this. And they're being able to, that's how you can keep it very quiet, of course, is by having these flights land on the aircraft carriers. Many others, according to reports in Stuttgart, Germany, where there's a massive NATO and U.S. base there in Stuttgart. Of course, that's where Germany, of course, is where Netanyahu fled to. It's unclear if he's still there or if he's back now in Israel. But that's where he was initially. He might still actually be there in Israel. In Germany. So, American wounded being treated inside of Germany. I'd like to know those numbers. When are the brave, by the way, when are the brave like Pentagon reporters going to ask any questions about this?